Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whoever you support, you're very welcome. And this is the latest in the series of the season so far. We're joined by Monts from Big Six Bants. Monts, how you doing today? How you doing?
Could be better. Do you know what I'm saying? Generally I'm doing fine, but could be better. Obviously, Liverpool on a high horse, and then everything came crashing down. Back to life, back to reality. But you know what? Can't win them all. But there's a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, man. And thanks for having me on the channel, man. Same old, same old.
No, always. And for anybody who has not seen Monts before, even if you have, get over to Big Six Bants. The link for his channel is in the description of this video. So please get over there. I don't care what you do. Get over there. Just subscribe. Troll him. Call him names. But as long as you subscribe to him, that's all that matters. Monts, I'm going to start this with, I was on a show with you during the summer, and it came out that Alexander Isak handed in a transfer request. Out came these sunglasses. You sat there like Bertie Big Bollocks. Yeah, Liverpool this. The last week, how's that going for you? Are you still feeling the same?
Well, it's definitely the elation has definitely died down. Like at first, even seeing him at the training complex was just like, how has Liverpool pulled that off? How we pulled that off? Like, no, in no way. If you asked me 2024, 2023, even because that's when Isak had a 20 goal. He had back-to-back 20 goal seasons in it. So 2023, if you said Liverpool and Isak, I'd have just like doing it, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if you said in 24, I would have been like, there's probably more of a chance he goes to Arsenal than Liverpool. Like, what do you mean? Isak, Liverpool, we ain't got the credibility, we ain't got the juice like that. Not saying we can't attract a player, but I don't see Liverpool going and slapping down 100 million. No way. You know what I'm saying? I've seen my team do certain things, but I thought that's just a bit too much. So, and especially after the worst thing was for us to splash the 116 on that, I thought there's no way we go and do it again. After doing it for the first time, no way you do it again. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what they say about buses? You miss one.
They all
come.
You're like, this is the big summer signing. All right, Ekitike's big, but Monts is the big one, and then Isak's even bigger, man. I mean, like,
because you got to remember the order that it happened in. We got Wirtz over the line, and that seems to be like the marquee. That's your marquee for the window. You very rarely sign more than one marquee signing. If you do, it's like they're not really going to be over 100 million. It's probably in that 70 to 90 region, and that's kind of classed as your marquee. So as soon as we kind of got Wirtz, then we got Ekitike. I thought, well, yeah, we kind of has to be done now, pretty much. Like this, you can't go for someone else, you know. So that's why it was so like, no, this is actually happening. Oh wow, I'm gonna live every moment. Sorry, I just thought I needed to live every moment of that Isak signing, because even though it's been very early doors, and we'll get to how early it's been and what we think, but that's crazy. Imagine Tottenham went and signed Isak, like Ekitike, then Isak.
Isn't our record fee like 57 million or something? I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what it's like.
Isn't Solanke? I think Solanke's our record, or is it Ndombele? Ndombele's our record.
I want to say Solanke at about 57. I think Ndombele was 55 plus add-ons. But yeah, we're nowhere near the three figures in terms of the 100 million mark, mate. So I can't imagine. You went through it twice. My immediate question to you now, we're going to get to the summer and the games in a minute, but having signed Ekitike, I get it. The option's there. The opportunity presents itself. It's Alexander Isak, one of the best strikers in the league. Did you need both? And in hindsight, do you need both?
Yes, we needed both, because if one is injured, we actually have no striker.
Sure.
Just off the basis of that. We have no striker. Like, and I'm not even talking like Diaz. Even Diaz, you know how Diaz would come in as the makeshift striker? No, we don't even have that. Right. Like, at least last season, God rest his soul, Jota and Nunes were injured at the same time at times last season. Yeah, just throw Jota up. Throw Diaz up front. Throw Diaz up top. Like, that was what it was.
Yeah.
Diaz isn't here. God rest his soul, Jota isn't with us, and we've sold Nunes. So in terms of numbers and replacing, we actually kind of have replaced the masses. We're actually one attacker down still. We have less attackers than we did last season. Because of what we lost 3 players last season. We lost 3 attackers.
It's the stature of the attackers now that makes people think that you've got more, right?
Yeah, we have more quality.
Yeah.
But we actually have less attackers. That's why young Rio, is actually been promoted to the first team.
Yeah.
Rather than buying another left winger. You know what I mean? And the good, what I'd say is that what was good about the old guys is that they were very multifunctional. Jota could play on the left, play up top. Nunes was even though Nunes wasn't seen as a left winger, we'd seen him get to play on the left before.
Yeah.
Play up front sometimes. And of course, Diaz was on the left and then was used as a striker, and we ended up winning the league with him being at the top, at the tip of our attack, spearheading our attack. So we actually have less attackers, less senior attackers than we did last season. It's just that 200 million was just thrown at the attack. So it's going to feel like that. I think the difference is now we have more technicians than runners in our front line. And it's looking like an issue.
Right.
Because you need a blend of both. You do need a blend of both. So
do you know what? I'm really interested to hear your opinions as we go through this show, because so far Liverpool is the only club where I would have had 2 from the same club. So I did one of these earlier with Cal from Coppish, and I'm just looking to see. Obviously, you don't know what was said because I've not released it yet. I'm looking to see whether or not you've both got the same opinion on what's happening at Liverpool, or whether or not there's completely different. So, and that's the beauty of football. Look, let's start before we get into the results this season. Let's start with that forward area, as we've already touched upon it. So. Yeah. You've gone out and bought Ekitike, who I think, by the way, is massively underrated. I said to Cal earlier that Spurs played Frankfurt twice last year. Was really, really impressed with Ekitike as a footballer, not just as a striker, but as a footballer. Hold-up play, technical ability, good stature, good pace, power. You get that over the line, and I don't know whether he's thinking, "Oh, I'm the main man. I'm Liverpool's number 9." Then you see Isak come through the door, and you must be thinking, "Oh shit! Like, hang on, he's the British record transfer fee." Is there a world in which these two can coexist in the same 11 to make it work?
Absolutely, but there's definitely pros and cons. One, playing them at the same time doesn't actually give you space for a backup striker if things aren't working. Yes, we have Chiesa, who does kind of play up top as well as on the wings, but you don't have like who's the striker you're going to bring on for the striker? It would be more of a, Isak comes off the pitch, Ekitike, you now go up front, and then we bring on a 10. Or we bring on a winger. So there is definitely one where they coexist. I say there's 2 ways you can look at it. If you're going for the typical 4-2-3-1 formation, with how I've seen Liverpool play, I'd like to see Ekitike out on that left side with Isak, and I'd like to see them do this. Because if the manager gives them license to do this, because we've seen it with Gakpo, we've seen it with Diaz. Last year, Diaz and Gakpo were doing this.
Right.
And sometimes Salah would go up front. You'd see the front line interchange. And it wasn't like an interchanging theme like you saw with Luis Enrique at PSG. That was like a very much a theme where you saw the whole front line.
Yeah.
Anywhere, here, there, and everywhere. But there was a left wing striker swap going on in game. And I think if you allow those two to do that, I think the ego slowly disappears, because then Ekitike can be allowed to think, wait, so I do have a striking position in this team, regardless of what Isak's doing. And Isak doesn't have to think, oh, well, I'm the main guy. And I'm always like, it can humble Isak. I'm not saying he has an ego, but it's humbling as well to know that his position isn't necessarily safe, regardless of his price tag. And he's going to have to, and it helps Isak mold to more than one position, because as we know right now, Liverpool are in need of a multifunctional set right now, because it's not working with the specialists in each position.
Yeah,
I think things need to be a bit more multifunctional in the forward line. So Ekitike or Isak on the left or up front, and then you kind of go with Wirtz, who I feel like you have to continue playing into form. Everyone's going to talk about Wirtz, the price tag, how he's rubbish and he's this and that. He's not been as bad as everyone said he's been. I just don't think he has. I think the real issue, and we'll get to the real issue, which is actually McAllister. He's the real issue, unfortunately, for Liverpool, and he's such a big part of Liverpool's functioning midfield, which isn't functioning, and he is a major reason for that. But I think Wirtz, and you see the bits of quality. I think in the long term, Wirtz will be fine. He deserves the I'd say, what's the word? He deserves the all the stick he's getting just simply because of his price tag. I think that's just part of the game. I'd be doing the same if I wasn't a Liverpool fan. So
you do the same. I've been on many shows of you. Yeah. You do the same. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I said. That's why I say game to game. Yeah, that's why I say I don't complain about the word human. That's why I say the game's the game, innit? But when you do take away like I've also complimented Rice when people have been on the back of Declan Rice. You know, I've also looked at Caicedo. Yes, I started off 6 months in my agenda, but Caicedo, even I've had a lot of times where I've said, bro, like Caicedo is fine. Like, okay, we're overdoing it a bit now. Do you know what I'm saying? I've had many reasons where the only one I probably haven't stuck up for is probably maybe Enzo Fernandez. But from there are game performances where I've said Enzo's done well. Last season, I think Enzo was quite good last season for Chelsea, for example. So I look at that world where they can coexist, and I go, my favorite would be Ekitike in the 10 and Isak up top, because that's the closest thing to what he done at Frankfurt. He was playing as a left striker with Marmoush, and he would sometimes drop into the 10 area, sometimes be the front man leading the line, sometimes veer out to the left. He was given a role where he can be a little bit of everywhere. I watched the Frankfurt game when you guys played. He actually scored his goal from the left. He actually came in off the left, cut in, and he hits it low to Vicario's left side. So it's like, you look at it, these are the roles. So when people say Ekitike, he can't play on the left. Oh, he can't play on the left. Well, we've seen him do that role. And if he's anything, and to be fair, I think Ekitike is the one where you don't really have to take care of too much. We've seen him in the Premier League adapt straight away. His all-round game, as you said, as a footballer, looks very, very good. His hold-up play and his round-the-corner touch, like all that stuff, he actually looks better than Isak at that stuff.
Yeah, he's
better than Isak. And that's not really been Isak's game anyways. Isak's kind of give me the ball to my feet and let me do my dribbling, and you know what I mean?
Let me ask you then, and in a second, what I want to do is I want to bring up a Liverpool 11 that I put together, right? And I want to see whether or not you think I'm right or wrong, or what you would do and change it around. But before we do that, Alexander Isak, this interests me, right? And I want to forget the price tag for the moment, because we know that prices in football are absolutely ridiculous. We know that, right? We know now you want to go and buy an Adam Wharton, that's 90 million, please. You know, it's just ridiculous, right? Not saying Adam Wharton's not a top player, but just using him as a benchmark for price. Alexander Isak at Newcastle, we all knew he's the main man, right? He was. I know the Newcastle fans right now that he's gone will go, no, it was never him. It was Tonali, or no, it wasn't him.
Cope, all that Cope and stuff.
It was Alexander Isak. And it was very much, we knew what they were going to do. We knew the end goal, whether it was driving through the middle or getting the ball out wide, the ball would end up to Alexander Isak. My question to you is Alexander Isak going to be the main man at Liverpool? Because obviously the big profiles that you've got there now, like Wirtz, Mo Salah, who's been the king of Liverpool for years. And if not, is he going to cope with that? Is he going to cope that maybe everything doesn't go through him like it did at Newcastle?
He has to cope with that, because that's what happens when any player goes to a bigger team with multiple superstars. You have to deal with the big fish in a little pond. You're not just a fish in a big pond. You know what I'm saying? And he has to deal with that.
The Grealish model, right?
Grealish, Gareth Bale. You know what I'm saying? Luis Suarez. All of these guys who are the main guy. And it's all about how do you deal with that transition. Luis Suarez, his first 6 months at Barcelona wasn't very good. I'm not saying he played poorly. He was racking up assists like it was crazy, but they were like, we haven't signed you for that. That was the thing about Luis Suarez. We haven't signed you to keep getting assists. Where are the goals? I mean, well, the goals came. The goals really did come.
Yeah. It's like at Liverpool, it was Suarez is the main man. When you go to Barcelona at the time, it don't matter what your name is, you're not Lionel Messi, right? So you're not the main man. Yeah.
Gareth Bale, very much. I think he had a good start to his Real Madrid career, but he wasn't Ronaldo. It's as simple as that. You're not Ronaldo. And it's not on the same, Liverpool aren't the same level as the stature of a Real Madrid. But what I can say is you're not Mo Salah. Even though Mo Salah is getting on in age, you are not Mo Salah.
Exactly.
That's just what it is. So it's how much are you willing to coexist amongst superstars? Because that's why you signed your contract, right? To play with players that you feel like are on your level or above your level that you can learn from. You know, you want to be the main man at Liverpool, but you know you have to earn that stage. You can't just walk in because you're an expensive price player to then be the main man. You have to earn your stripes here. And listen, these players aren't naive. I'm pretty sure Suarez knew that. Bale knew that. Isak now knows that. These guys know that. But it's how much are you willing to adapt? And I don't think Isak probably looking at himself going, oh my God, it's been 2 games and I've had 1 start and a couple extra minutes and I haven't scored a Premier League goal. I actually don't think he's probably thinking that. As a fan base, we're gonna put the magnifying glass on that because of the price tag. But it's how much is he willing to coexist at this moment with Ekitike, with Mo Salah? Are you okay swapping to the left? And personally, his attitude seems like it's been fine. We haven't seen much of Ekitike and Isak just because of literally fit. When Ekitike was playing, Isak wasn't fit and wasn't signed. And then the second Isak has kind of started to gel into the team, Ekitike got the hyperextension thing and had the injury. Now he's back. Now we look at the Man United game coming on the way back. Now going forward, you go, cool. This is the real question. Is this going to be the first time we see them start together? Is it going to be the right thing starting together? Do people prefer a plan A and a plan B rather than a plan A and B together and then maybe thinking about plan C when it gets there if it doesn't work? Personally, I think Ekitike is going to have an easier time adapting and being part of that because he never came in as a his price was high, but have you noticed how no one talks about Ekitike's price? Have you ever heard anyone once speak about Ekitike's price since his debut?
It's almost as though he's been bought in for 10 million because people go, oh God, he surprised us. And you're like, well, players at 70, 80 million, whatever he costs, shouldn't be surprising you. But that's how he's being talked about. Yeah, you're right.
It was very obvious that we overpaid for Ekitike as well. Very obvious. A lot of people were looking like, ooh, 80 million for Ekitike. Even I was like, ooh. Before I'd seen him kick a ball for Liverpool, I was like, that's a bit steep. Like, that's a steep price. We shouldn't, like, are you sure the bank haven't given you a little text to make sure it's you? Because that's a steep one. You know, so like, but no one mentions the 80 million. No one mentions Ekitike's price. And he's on the same amount of goals as a Gyökeres, but we all have eyes and we see how he's impacting games. We all have eyes. You know, we're seeing he's in the midfield as much as the midfielders are. He's getting involved. He's holding up the ball. He's getting stuck in. He's winning his duels. He's got a bit of a, you can see he's a bit of a prick as well. Like he's got a bit of a personality. Like you see all these things. This is why I say that Ekitike is the only really positive when you look at Liverpool's window so far in the first 7 games of the Prem, plus the 3 other games we played. Southampton, Atletico, Galatasaray. He's the only signing you look at and go, fair enough.
Right. Okay.
All the other ones you kind of look at and go, we're still waiting. And that's fine because it's 7 to 10 games. You don't write anyone off after 7 to 10 games. Granted, you don't write them off completely.
Well, it is 2025. Football fans do their best to write people off after 7 minutes these days.
I was asked 2 days ago, have you signed the wrong wing backs? Have you signed the wrong players at wing back? I said, I don't know yet. I'm not a fortune teller. I said, I'm not really a fortune teller. Like, I mean, if we want to write off guys after 7 games, then I'm pretty sure a few of your goats wouldn't be in any conversations right now.
Right, exactly. Well, look, with that in mind, I want to bring up, this is just loosely, by the way. This isn't me saying this is my favorite 11. I just want to know, the goalkeeper here isn't really important because obviously at the moment, we know it's Alisson, but at the moment it's Mamardashvili. Is this, in your opinion, Liverpool's strongest 11? If I was to push you right now and say, what's your strongest 11? And feel free, tell me, we can, with the power of the internet, we can change around the positions where the players are, the formation. Is this right? Or would you look at a different formation or players in the wrong place? Where are you at with this?
I'd sort of Frimpong with Szoboszlai.
Frimpong for Szoboszlai, right? Now, this is an interesting one because I believe it. Yeah, there you go. I got it right the first time. There we go. Okay, so Szoboszlai, who's now turned into your right back after being your attacking midfielder last year, right?
And there's definitely a play, before the people in the comments complain, there's definitely a place in him in that pivot as well. It's just I don't want him anywhere near the 10 because a lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, use the old midfield, use the old midfield." Oh, we used the old midfield against Chelsea. How did that work?
Okay.
The answer is it didn't. So, as I said,
But
let
me ask you off the bat. I want to ask you off the bat before we move on to anything else. This whole right back conundrum that you've got. I've seen that you've completely, not you, I'm not talking like you're Arnie Slot, but I've seen Bradley's played there, Soberslai's played there, Frimpong's played there. What's the thinking that when I first asked the question and the first thing you say to me is Soberslai at right back? What's the thinking there? Is it that Frimpong's not ready? Is it that Bradley's not good enough? Is it that you're just trying to shoehorn Soberslai in? Why? Why the midfielder at right back?
So, number one reason is Bradley's not ready yet.
Okay.
He's not good enough. Can he be good enough? I'm never saying never, but right now he's not good enough. I've said this for a while now, and Liverpool fans were just upset at the Trent situation, so you immediately had to make Bradley look like something he's not.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Listen, it's human nature. You're not exactly going to up-talk your ex, are you? You know what I'm saying? It's human nature. Any excuse not to. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we've got that with players like Richarlison at my club. Don't worry. I've got you.
And that's what I mean. So any excuse to prop up a player when you don't like the previous. With Frimpong, the Frimpong one is an interesting one because he's only started one game at right back for Liverpool, and it was against Bournemouth, and he actually had a decent game. He actually just went down. He done his hamstring.
Right,
in that game in the 50 to 60th minute, done his hamstring, and he had to be taken off. So ever since he's come back from that injury, he hasn't been trusted at right back. He hasn't started a game at right back since then. He's actually started more games as a right winger or come off the bench as a right winger than he has at right back. So maybe the manager's seen something that he doesn't like in training or maybe he didn't see something like in that Bournemouth game. But in the Bournemouth game, I think Frimpong done a decent job. Then you look at someone like Soberslai and you go, cool, well, if Liverpool are missing a Trent-like profile, which is quite glaringly obvious, and it's okay to say that, guys. It's okay to say you missed a profile rather than missing the player. It's okay to say you missed the profile. So Soberslai is someone who actually has a very good range of passing.
Yeah.
But it's one thing to have a range of passing when you have time and space, and it's one thing to have a range of pass and to not be able to use your range of passing in tighter spaces, i.e. maybe in the middle of the pitch or in the 10 formation. Sorry, in the 10 position. Soberslai in the deeper row in midfield can pick up those passes.
Sure.
Unless there's a counter press. At right back, Liverpool's right back always has space. It's just something the right back's always had space to do what you need to do. Soberslai, I feel like to bring up the best out of his passing ability and his distribution, right back's was the perfect position for him to do that. And also, just because of his build, he runs more than anyone else on the pitch. Even though he's not like built like Adama Traore, he is he's a powerful runner. He's a powerful runner. He wins his duels, and he's someone you don't really want to get into 50-50s with because, you know, you ever run into someone and hurt yourself? Yeah, he's one of those guys. Yeah. You know? So,
but can he defend?
Now, 1v1, I think he can defend. Okay. Now, holding the line, I think he has to learn a bit more. He's held the line well in against Arsenal, against Newcastle. He was very, very good all around defensively. And you asked the question, can he defend? Can he defend better than the other two? I think that's the question you should be asking me. Can he defend better than Bradley? Can he defend better than Frimpong? That's the question.
And the answer is?
Absolutely. Doesn't mean it's good enough.
So we're going with your number 10 from last season, so to speak, can defend better than the two options you've got at right back currently.
Yes, and that is it is a slight on our right backs, but it's also a slight on why was he playing in the 10? Well, he was allowed to play in the 10 because Mo Salah was in all-time of form, and Trent can make something out of nothing.
Sure.
You know, and Diaz and Gakpo are very good interchangeable units to have in that front line. So Szoboszlai didn't need to create when Trent is a creator and Salah nearly broke the assist record.
Right.
We have other creative outlets. Salah's not the same Salah, and Trent isn't here. So if you are now relying on the 10 to create, well, it makes sense why we spent 100 million on the 10. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Even though that 10 isn't penning so far. So Szoboszlai has everything to play at right back, but he still needs to learn a bit more. But I do like the idea of him being in that pivot as well, because it gives us another option. It means we don't necessarily have to go and sign a player to play next to Gravenberch or play instead of Gravenberch. you kind of have another player to do that now, which is actually more his position, in my opinion, as well.
So other than, so we've put Szoboszlai at right back.
Mhm.
Is the rest of it the 11? Is it the setup, like the 4-2-3-1, or would it be more 4-3-3?
I think it's the instructions. I think there is a structural issue for Liverpool right now, but the structure isn't working because of the instructions. Now, both wing backs are being told to invert, and there aren't really a lot of overlaps. Now, typically, you'll see Coques overlap the left winger more than you'll see the right back overlap. And that's usually because, again, Gakpo loves to cut in. Anyone who plays on that left side, if Wirtz was to go on the left, you'd see him more in that kind of inside left role, kind of what he's kind of seen from Xavi Simons over at Spurs. But realistically, the wing backs are tucking in, and you kind of get yourself a position where when Konate gets on the ball, it's hard to play out to the right because the wing back is tucking in. The wing backs aren't hugging the touchline as an outlet as much as they were last season. And I do think that the wing backs need to go back to being conventional. You know, Coques is a conventional. Like everyone says Coques is a wing back. He's a wing back. He played left back. He got team of the season playing left back under Areola. Not left wing back in a free. He played left back. You know what I'm saying? So people, let's not making things up. Szoboszlai doesn't like to overlap very much. So that's one way to isolate Mo Salah. Frimpong did kind of overlap, to be fair. But takes too long to release the ball. But he's an outlet. Conor Bradley likes to overlap, but he's being asked to tuck in. Bradley cannot play that role. It's not his game.
Yeah,
it's just not his game.
You've got to be a certain type of footballer to tuck in from fullback and go into central midfield. And if it's not your game,
like as I said, Trent, Calafiori, these type of guys.
Like
to tuck in and almost come as like an auxiliary DM. Zinchenko is another one we saw at the early when Arsenal that 22, 23 or 23, 24 season, I think it was
one of the first with Pep at Bayern Munich, right? Lahm would go in there. I suppose it could be the same as his name's gone right out of my head. Who's the Bayern Munich midfielder right now that can play right back or centre mid?
Conrad Laimer.
I'm not thinking of him, but yes, him as well. I'm thinking of the other. Who's the centre mid for
Joshua Kimmich?
There's the one I'm thinking of. But yes, I don't see somebody like, I don't see Coques and Bradley as I see them as
Cancelo. They're not Cancelo, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. These are the problems we had last year. We had fullbacks being pushed into the midfield, and you're like, hang on, they're not. You need to be comfortable on the ball to be playing in midfield. You need to be happy to receive it and know where you're passing. And
that's why Szoboszlai looks better than both right backs in this current right back under these current instructions. Szoboszlai's gonna look like the better right back because he's actually a midfielder. Some would say, if I want to be edgy, some would say Szoboszlai's a right back posing as a midfielder. Unpopular opinion, but as I said, because he's actually a midfielder, he's gonna look better tucking in. Szoboszlai does probably have the legs to overlap Salah, but again, I feel like it's actually instruction. But for me, Trent didn't even overlap Salah that much. To be honest, like Trent used to from about 2017 to 2020. Trent actually was overlapping, but after that, he kind of stopped and became and started inverting when things kind of changed for Liverpool. But if you're going to isolate Salah more, you have to be Trent as good as Trent Alexander-Arnold playing through the lines. You have to be that good.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there is no replacement for that right now that Liverpool can acquire. So how do you accommodate helping Salah to have link up, to have players around him in an overlap, and then also have an option for Konate to actually pass to? Because Konate is not good on the ball anyway. So he needs as much help as he can get to distribute the ball into midfield, because he's tried to distribute the ball into midfield many times this season, and he looks like he's never kicked a ball before.
He's looked poor this season.
Yeah,
to be fair.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I want to ask you. I want to go back to something you said right at the beginning. Was you were talking about Wirtz, and the immediate thing you said as to why that wasn't working per se was because of McAllister.
Yes.
Who I get told I look like every now and then, but other than that, if anything, he looks like me. I'm older than him. What did you mean by that? What did you mean by it's not working because of McAllister? he was brilliant last year, right? So what's happened?
Unbelievable. The last 3 years in the Premier League, he's been unreal.
Yeah.
And I'm talking his 2 years at Liverpool and the year and the previous couple of years he had at Brighton as well. Though these 3-4 years, Palace has been wonderful. I think everyone can kind of at least have that opinion. He's been a good midfielder. Now, since he's come back this season, I don't know if someone's taped rocks at the bottom of his boots. I don't know what's on. I don't know whether he's body swapped with Enzo Fernandez. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why this man is playing like he's been space jammed. His weight of pass is gone. He's running like he's overweight, like he's got a parachute on. He's losing his duels like he's got an iron deficiency. Everything he is doing is poor. There has been little flashes of his old self when he plays the reverse pass to Isak against Palace, where Isak goes on the mazy run and hits it wide. He's had moments where he's gotten the ball and looks like he can do something, but he just looks really, really slow. And he's never been fast anyway. And he's never been a player to get across the grass. But he's always been a step ahead of everyone.
Yeah. So not slow in pace, slow in speed of thought and moving the ball. But is he playing like this? He's
playing like he's a step behind when he's usually a step ahead intellectually.
Yeah.
But he's gone back to
playing in a midfield too, like this. Is this where he's playing? Like, as I've got it laid out here, is he playing next to Gravenberch?
He is playing next to Gravenberch, but with Wirtz. So, and I've spoken to Cal about this as well. McAllister and Wirtz seems like there's an issue there. Not just because McAllister's not playing well enough, but the position that Wirtz likes to take up. Yes, he plays in the 10, but Wirtz actually does drop a little bit deeper at times, as if it's like a midfield 3 rather than a pivot and a 10. And these are the positions that McAllister likes to take up. And sometimes I do feel like they're getting in each other's spaces and it's no longer instinct. You're now thinking of where to play rather than where you just know where to play the ball. You know, like there are still instinctual passes that happen with Liverpool. You see Virgil with that long diag to Salah. Happens all the time. Can't really stop it. Work the ball, long diag to Salah. It's instinctive, sorry. And you look at the 11 now, and McAllister and Wirtz, whenever they played, it looks really cool on paper, but the balance doesn't look very good. And this is why I said, if you actually look at Ekitike when he's played, McAllister has actually looked okay. Not rubbish. He looked okay. Not back to his normal self, but he looked okay. It's not like a detriment. He's not a detriment to the team. Right now, he's been more of a detriment to the team than he hasn't been a detriment to the team, you know? And this is why that Ekitike in the 10 shout that could almost sometimes flip into a front 2 is not the worst thing in the world, because Ekitike has done some of his best work. He's actually done some of his best work in the midfield. He's, as much as he's scored goals for Liverpool, he's not given me sniper, gunman vibes, you know.
So, like, are we talking about this? So if you were going to, and again, I know it's difficult because we can only set out what the systems allow us to, but you're talking about Ekitike having more of a free role behind Isak to allow him to go where he wants, and then I'm guessing Wirtz would be the guy on the left, or would it be Gakpo?
It could be either of the two. I think when that depends on the opposition. You play a team that plays a 5-back and marauding fullbacks, Wirtz can't play on the left. We saw what happened to Palace. We played Wirtz on the left with marauding wingbacks and a narrow formation. We got torn apart and we should have been 6-0 down. Right. You know, the evidence was there to see. I look at this now and go with Ekitike in that midfield. Now you've actually kind of got a bit more balance. You've got the height of Gravenberch and Ekitike. Ekitike is the only link from midfield to attack. And that shouldn't be the case, but that's what's been the case for Liverpool. In these new instructions, this structure, this new kind of found structure that Slot is trying to play, the only player who has connected us who's got us off the pitch successfully, whether it be a one-touch, flick around the corner, held up, wherever it's been him. Right. He is the link from midfield to attack. So until the midfield figure out what's going on, Slot figures out what's going on, Ekitike has to be there for us to look remotely like we can do anything going forward. And if that means he has to play in the 10 for Isak to play and for them to exist, to simultaneously exist, then I don't see why he can't be in the 10. Ekitike has no patience. He doesn't have the patience to stand there up front just wait for things to happen.
Yeah. He's not that. Yeah, he's a runner, isn't he? He's not that sort of guy.
Isak is that type of one because when Isak plays up front, they're completely different play styles. I've seen them both play up front for Liverpool so far. Isak waits for the ball. Ekitike goes to the ball. Isak, when he's not getting the ball, goes out to the left. That's what he does. Ekitike, when he's not getting the ball, comes into midfield.
Yeah. He wants to go and find the ball.
Shows what type of players there are. Ekitike is not always going to turn and hit it. Isak is actually like, turn, hit. Where can I shoot? How can I shoot? You know?
So, last bit on your formation, Salah. Now, Salah is it seems odd to say anything that sounds remotely critical or negative about Salah because he has been one of the best players in the Premier League for years and years and years. But he's not looked early days. But
it's been rubbish. You can say it. It's been rubbish. You can say it.
No. Look. I think the difficulty that I've always had with Salah is one of those for me that his output is absolutely phenomenal. No one can ever question that. But he falls into that bracket for me, Monts, and this may sound harsh, but he falls into that bracket for me of he's one of those that if he's not scoring or assisting, I don't notice him. Now, that may sound harsh, but that's a positive and a negative. At the moment, where he's not doing the things that Mo Salah normally does, it almost looks like whatever you're doing as a team has taken away from that kind of superpower that Salah has. Now, that might be a momentary thing. It might be, well, this is just who Liverpool are now. What's going on with Salah?
I mean, I think because when people say Salah doesn't do anything outside the GA, there's truth to it and there's lies to it. So the truth to it is the Salah from about 2020 and upwards has changed his game. If you actually watch Salah from 2017 to about 2019, Salah used to take on players and get past them all the time. Go look at his goal against Arsenal when we won 3-1. Takes a touch round David Luiz and runs to the goal and scores. You know? Go look at so many goals you can look at Salah taking on players and being a bit more of a maverick, you know? Whether people deem it aesthetically pleasing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, you know?
Beauty in the eye of the beholder on that one. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you look at a winger that is very much more link-up play based and distribution based, because Salah is kind of like he is a very much unique winger in the sense that he has a wonderful range of passing, but likes to do it from a standing position rather than dribbling his way out of the way and
of course. Yeah.
Rather than play, he'd rather Trevella it round the defense than jinking through 4 or 5 players. And he'd like to play a 1-2 rather than beating a player these days at his age, of course, which is understandable as well. He's not a robot, he's 33 now. You know, you see the goal he scored against Atletico, 1-2 scores. You know, that's his style. Now, that means, unfortunately, as good as you are now reliant outside of yourself. You are not Neymar, my friend, unfortunately. You are now reliant outside of yourself. You are not going to pick up the ball and score from wherever position. So that means someone needs to come next to Salah, play the 1-2. Trent is another one who's just going to go like that. And, you know, there was what Trent provided. There was Szoboszlai, even though he wasn't a great 10, in my opinion, did very often defer to Salah. Very often. And that, as again, has its negatives and positives. So, because of how much of a good striker of the ball he is, not striking the ball enough because Salah. Now, if you play through Salah and he's a final third player, it doesn't matter what he does outside of his GA because you're deferring to Salah. And deferring to Salah is fine because if you're going to defer to anyone, he's the one who's going to give you the results. You've seen it over the last 9 years. You see what I'm saying? But Liverpool are deferring to the other side of the pitch right now. And it does feel like we are playing with 10 men. And there are times, as I said, even though I do think Salah does a lot of the ball that doesn't get accounted for. For example, when he pins his defender, he plays the ball inside and he gets off the pitch. There's plenty of examples of Salah getting Liverpool up the pitch and choosing the right passes and retaining the ball. But we don't need him there. You don't need him there. You know, he doesn't need to do that. You know what I'm saying? We have enough quality around the pitch. We don't need him to do that anymore. So even if Salah is doing those little things, quite frankly, it's not enough because he's not a winger that's going to beat his man anymore. Yeah. He's not. So the reason why Gakpo gets more of the stick than Salah does is because Liverpool are playing through Gakpo right now. And now there's actually more of a spotlight to go, if you're getting the ball more often, how often are you doing something with the ball? Gakpo's not doing enough on the ball now that he's getting the ball more. And it's highlighting how wasteful he can be. With Salah, Gakpo's not as reliant as Salah because Gakpo's faster, he's taller, he likes to take on a man, even though he only likes to go one way. He wouldn't go around the outside if his house was on fire. Do you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? It's one of those things where he just hates going down the outside for some reason. So with Salah, he's more reliant, and the issue with Salah for me isn't actually, yes, I know he's been isolated. I can make an excuse if you're being isolated as a winger and you're a link-up winger. But if you are getting the ball when you need to get the ball, and you are passing when you're supposed to be shooting and shooting when you're supposed to be passing and hitting the ball into row Z, which is actually what Salah is doing, by the way, and missing gilt-edged chances, this is where my criticism of Salah lies. Not all the other stuff that the agendas that surround your name by. It's not the whole you don't do anything. No, none of that. I watch you week in, week out. I don't have to prove that anymore. It's been 9 years. When you're in front of goal, do your job now, because that is now your thing. Way more than it was back in the day. So when Salah is getting in these positions, it's not good enough. You saw the two over the bar at Chelsea. You saw the positions he got the ball in against Chelsea. I mean, it's just going over the bar. There's no power in it. He's shanking it wide. He's not hitting the ball cleanly. That is where you look at things and go, yeah, we feel like we're playing with 10 men, because you're squandering chances. That Verts assist would have been wonderful. I think Salah.
Is it 1 year too many? By that, I mean, is it 1 year too many of, listen, he's been phenomenal for years.
Yeah.
You can't just keep going. I mean, we had this with Son. You can be great. And then all of a sudden there's that year where you go, oh, you don't look great. Now, obviously with Salah, it's only been 7-10 games, whatever you play this season. But could this be the year where you go, oh, he is human and the age has caught up with him?
Salah has these type of runs where he has played like this, which is where I'm not completely on Salah's rubbed. He's done, because Salah's had, as we know, the second half of the season stuff that we talk about with Salah. He has these periods where he's looked like this. Salah's never looked like this before. You know, difference is when he looks like this, he's still scoring goals. Right now, he's looking like this, and he's not really getting the goals from open play that we want him to get. You're only seeing it in glimpses, and you're going to see it in even less glimpses if we don't play through Salah. I don't care what form Salah is in. If you defer to a bad Salah or a normal Gakpo, I'm choosing the bad Salah, because I know out of the loads, if you keep spamming it to him, something will crack.
Sure.
It's just him. Like, you can't. He has that inevitability about him. Something, it will work. So, and that also is, and also defenders are wary of that. I don't think defenders fear Gakpo. I don't think they fear him. We can all admit that Gakpo is a good player. I don't think there's a fear factor with Gakpo. And when you have a fear factor, when you don't have any fear factor, defenders know what you're going to do. You're a lot easier to stop. Sometimes I don't even think Salah knows what he's going to do sometimes. You know.
So with all this in mind, to wrap up the Liverpool talk, because for the last 5 minutes, I want to ask you about Spurs and your rivals. Where are Liverpool finishing this season? Are you winning this title?
I still believe Liverpool win the title. Am I as confident as I was at the start of the season? Absolutely not. I have to be honest. Like, this is just me being honest. If you want to say, oh, well, you're changing your mind, I'm not changing my mind. I never said Liverpool ever going to walk the league anyway. I've never, ever said we're going to walk the league, because unlike a certain fan base in North London, we've actually won the league twice in 5 years. So we know what it takes, and we know how hard it is, even if you're deemed to win very easily. Do you know what I'm saying?
I guess you're not talking about Tottenham Hotspur there. I guess you're
maybe a bit if you go further out to the northeast,
to the red side.
Go further out to the northeast, you might find the team there. But
is it failure if you don't? Is it failure this season if you don't win it?
Depends on the circumstance of what else you win. If you go and win the Champions League, you go and win a cup double, it's not necessarily a failure, but it's not necessarily an outright success. Right. If that makes sense.
If you win nothing.
If you win nothing, listen, they'll hit the board will be hearing my voice. I'll tell you that. So, and the board, the players, the manager, yeah. And as I said, it's all about context on how you lose. You know, how you miss out on the title. I do think that Arsenal are the most well-balanced and rounded team at the moment. I think that's fair. Yep. I think it's fair to admit that. Liverpool, I think, need tweaks. As I said, I don't think it's the formation. I think it's the instructions of the formation.
Sure.
Just because something goes wrong in your structure doesn't mean a formation change is the first thing you lean to. Tweaks are sometimes better than changes.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, do you know what? I completely agree with you. I think sometimes we focus so much on 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4-1.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that's just numbers on a pitch. If we're going to be brutally honest,
Mm-hmm.
that's just a starting position. But look, I want to ask you for a few minutes just before we wrap up. First of all, I want to know, a lot of people that watch this will be Spurs fans. So I'd love to know your thoughts on what's happening with Spurs this year under Thomas Frank. And then I want to hear from you what you make of Liverpool, City and Arsenal and their chances of winning the title. So I start with Spurs, just briefly, just a minute or so. What do you think?
I think you have a real shot to get top 4 this season. There's a real opportunity to get top 4 this season. If you guys can hang in there offensively, because I do think offensively there's a bit of a problem there. If you can hang in there offensively until Maddison and Kulusevski get back, maybe more Kulusevski before Maddison, because we know what's happened to Maddison. If you can get Kulusevski back, and we'll see where Kolo Muani's fitness is in about a month or times too. We'll see, because he's a very unknown. We don't know what's going to happen with him.
The world's longest dead leg, right?
Yeah, it's the striker version of Naby Keita at this point. But if you guys can hang in there offensively till Kulusevski does get back, you have more than, because eventually, I say this in the nicest way possible, Kudus will be very glaringly obvious to teams that you stop Kudus, you stop Tottenham.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
They haven't figured it out yet.
Well, you say they haven't. Every game we play at the moment, 2 to 3 are doubling up on this man.
Yeah, and rightly so, because he's, again, for me, he was my Mo Salah replacement. I've said this many times. He was my Mo Salah replacement that I wanted in, same first name as well, to be fair. So, it was easy on that one. But once and Kudus, as much as I love him as a player, you can get in his head. If I'm a defender, you can get in his head a little. You can. You foul him enough times, niggle him enough times, and then as soon as his head maybe goes, I don't think there's enough quality around the front line to bail you guys out unless it's a set piece from Pedro Porro or Romero comes with a bullet header. And that is not good enough for me, finish in a top 4 place where you actually have quite a lot of teams going for that top 4, top 5 now. It is quite a, I'm not saying Bournemouth will be there at the end of the season, but Chelsea will probably get it together when their guys come back from their injuries.
Newcastle. I still think Villa will be right up there. I think they had a bad start.
It will click with Villa. They've got the quality. It will click eventually. And obviously, you've got Liverpool, City, and Arsenal, who are already 1, 2, and 3 of a top 4 battle, which leaves only one place for grabs, really, if we're talking about the obvious places where we think teams can probably end up. So, unless one of those big 3 fall off a cliff, even then, that means there's only two spaces up for grabs. There's still not a lot of spaces. So, for me, with Tottenham, I don't think your defense is an issue. Personally, I don't think Jed Spence should have been moved. I think Jed Spence on the left, Pedro Porro is still your best back line, and that shouldn't have changed. I think Udogie can just come in as a squad player and understand that sometimes Ansu Fati meets Yamal. It happens. You look like you're the next best thing, and then another guy comes in and just, he's the guy now. Doesn't mean Udogie he's a bad player. He's had a lot of injuries. He's had to deal with a lot of things off the pitch. He's still a young player. He's got bags of potential, but Jed Spence is just someone who's undroppable. And I think the fact that Porro's even been dropped is very mind-boggling for me, because again, outside of Kudus, it's very difficult to see where that spark comes from. And I know Xavi Simons was brought in for that spark, but one day he's dropped, one day he's 10, one day he's left wing.
I think he'll start now. He's more and more in the last 2-3 games. He's moved into that 10. But you're right. I think the key thing with Tottenham at the moment is our outlet is very much, let's get this to Kudus. And the other week, the weekend against Leeds, you saw when Kudus came off with about 10 minutes to go, all of a sudden, the ball did not stick up top. And this is the thing. When you put that ball to Kudus, not only is he tricky, his hold-up play is sensational. Like, he is strong. He's one of the most duels this year in the Premier League.
You can't. He's the closest thing to Sadio Mane. Everyone will talk about Semenyo. That is the guy. Everyone's going to talk about Semenyo and Sadio Mane. Kudus is one of the, in terms of, because Semenyo, because he's strong. I understand the Kudus and Mane comparison. Mane and Semenyo, and I'm not saying it's a wrong comparison, but Kudus, it's from the same country as well, to be fair. But as a Semenyo, but Kudus, in the way that he holds that ball and you cannot get the ball off him, for the life of me, you can't get the ball off him. That is so much like Sadio Mane. Can't tackle him.
No,
And
he's been class. He's been class.
It's similar like what I say to Ekitike, and that Ekitike is built like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy, but he's very hard to tackle. It's very hard to tackle, even though he's not stocky. And sometimes you need a player that's going to get you guys up the pitch, and that is your guy. And you do cut that supply off, or even worse, God forbid, he gets injured. These are the problems.
I'm dreading it. I'm dreading it, and this is why January is so important for us. Whoever it is, we need to be able to have the same threat on the left as we do the right. But look, last question.
You were linked with Semenya, by the way. That was a thing.
We were linked with him. He's now on a new contract. Listen, our owners right now have rejected 4 expressions of interest to buy the football club for like £4 billion. So Spurs fans right now are going, cool, okay, you're rejecting these people who want to buy the club. Show us why. Show us why you rejected them. Let's go.
You know how they're going to show you. Brew another concert. That's how they're going to. That's their way. That's their way of showing you.
Yeah, we'll bring back Michael Jackson for a tour. Look, last question. Just last question before we go. Just 1 minute.
Was Arsenal and City?
Yeah, I mean Arsenal and City. What chances do you give those two of winning the league? Because
Arsenal, yeah, I'll be honest, man. Arsenal, for me, are looking like the title favourites just in terms of what we've seen on paper and form right now. And I have to admit that. That can change in 2 weeks. I think, you know what I'm saying? Arsenal were 5 points behind us. Now we're 1 point behind them. It can change. But who's the team that looks like more likely to go on a run right now? You have to say Arsenal. Doesn't matter who you think you support. Arsenal look like a team that can go on a run. Did they ride their luck as well at times? Absolutely. You look at last minute goal, late goal against City, late goal against Newcastle. Have Liverpool ridden their luck as well? More than Arsenal, in my opinion. Yes. So a bit of luck's going to come into it, but Arsenal look like the not clear, but just probably the favourites right now. And it's easy to say when Liverpool have gone 3 games in all comps in defeats. With City, those guys are weird, man. I don't know what's going on. Like Haaland can score a hat-trick. Haaland can score a brace and they might not win the game. So with them, I don't really know what's happening with City. They've got their players back now in terms of Marmoush. Cherki was back on the bench. Doku, who dropped, couldn't really understand that from Pep. He dropped him.
I think he's been from the second half of last season through to the beginning of this season. I think we're starting to see the real qualities of Doku. I think he's another one. Holds on to the ball brilliantly, rides tackles, drives forward. But yeah, I think you're right.
I think Pep, if he wants to continue winning games, has to continue playing Doku. I think even the City fans are saying Doku needs to this needs to be a one-time drop. The player. Because also remember, without Rodri, City don't have the same control that they have in games. So that means you need to have like that sort of inevitability somewhere else. And yes, they've got that in Haaland, but if Doku's being an extra threat, Haaland actually gets a bit more space.
Yeah.
When another player becomes a threat, you'd be surprised what space it gives you your real threat.
Yeah.
So
and you've got Marmoush and Cherki to both come back into the team.
Other guys, Nori's a player that can come in and probably look when City really want to dominate a game, you see what happens. But I do think the Rodri injury might be a bit too much for them to go and win the league. That would be my thing. I think with Rodri, I watched that Brentford game when Rodri was playing for the first 20 minutes. City looked very much in control.
Yeah, you're right.
As soon as he comes off the pitch, the game stayed at 1-0. Could have gone either way. Big save from Donnarumma. You know what I'm saying? So,
but he is one of the reasons why I still think they win it. I know it's a very unpopular opinion. I think Donnarumma changes them from being very worried at the back every time someone goes through on goal to, oh, don't worry, we've got Donnarumma. And Erling Haaland's just a machine on fire. But listen, I think it's going to be really close. I don't think there's going to be an outright run away with it this year. But right now, you have to put your money on it. Are you going with your boys to win it?
I want to say put money on it right now because I.
Would you put my money on it? Would you put someone else's money on Liverpool?
No. Right now, I can't ignore what I'm seeing, Savva. I can't ignore what I'm seeing. What I would say, though, I feel like, Liverpool haven't got the luxury of PSG, where PSG can be below par crap until the new year and still go and win their league. We don't have that. You have Arsenal, you have City. There's too much of a threat outside of us to be rubbish for this long and still mount a winning charge to go and win the league. So for me, I do believe it will click for Liverpool. How much time do we actually have? And I don't believe we have a lot of it. And I don't think we don't have a lot of excuses to have either with how much we've spent. So these are the pressures that come with the money, and we have to fix it. And that's why he's in the job. I think the people saying the manager needs to be fired after losing 2 Premier League games is insane. But
madness.
I
mean, you've lost more games than us. You've lost more games than Tottenham Hotspur this season.
We have. And at the end of the day, the players need to step up. And there's no excuses. And I think it's as simple as that. You know, there's a lot, as I said, like what was said, though, there are external factors as well. And I'm not going to be ignorant to that, because I don't want, you know, some people are I'm not going to be ignorant to the external factors. But at the end of the day, we've still got games to play and games to win. And come the end of the season, we'll see what happens. But for me, I've still got Liverpool winning that league, because I'm a Liverpool fan and I'm going to be biased to the fact that I think Liverpool will win the league. But if we're talking football talk, Arsenal are looking more favourable than Liverpool at the moment. I have to be honest in it.
Yeah, I hate the fact that Arsenal have such a good squad, but I do love it that the one shred of evidence we hang on to is Arteta. But hey, we won't go there right now. Listen, Monts, thank you so much. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I love the panel shows, but I do like getting away from it and having a one-on-one where you can actually talk football without everyone just doing the banter thing. Listen, everybody who's watching this, please, thank you for watching. Get over to Big Sixpence, subscribe to Monts. They always have a good laugh over there as well. So please do that.
Take care, guys. Take care.
Listen, take care. And as always, shamelessly, come on, you Spurs.